Yo, I'm Porky and today we're going to be reviewing the Back Bar by Uclips. That pull down T-bar rows, cable rows, deadlift jack. Does this thing have your back? Let's find out. The packaging for it, it's only 8 pounds, so the box itself was undamaged in delivery. It is bubble wrapped and kept in place by hard cardboard. Once unpackaging it, there was no damage, no defects, and there's no assembly required. It comes fully assembled with 2 carabiners. The back bar is a little under 22 inches long. The width of the handle is a little wider than 5 inches. The steel itself is 0.2 inches thick, which is around 5 gauge steel. By comparison, a Rogue rack is 11 gauge steel, which is about 0.12 inches. This is rated for 800 pounds, and I believe it with what is essentially 5 gauge steel. The center does have UHMW Plastic on all sides, but I would say that kind of sucks because it is flush with the metal. And so when your bar gets put into here, it does essentially contact the metal as well as that plastic. This opening here, which is where the bar slips into, is 1.26 inches, which is just a hair bigger than 32 millimeters. So a 32 millimeter bar should fit in here. So if you're thinking of buying this for your landmines and you've got like a 34 millimeter bar, this ain't working for you. As a multi-grip bar, it does have 10 adjustment holes on each side, which does provide a little bit of versatility. As for the ends, they call this a passive knurling, but I'm gonna call it what it is. It's just basically rubber coated. As far as comfortability goes, I like the width of it, I like the neutral grip of it, and for me, coming down with it feels pretty natural. It's very comparable to a mag grip, except a mag grip has more of a powdered steel feel, whereas this is more of a like leather bench feel. This isn't really a coated rubber, rather a rubber wrapped grip. But I've never had an issue with it slipping out of my hands or anything, so as far as comfort goes, this is A1. What I mean by rubber wrapped is that this isn't really attached to it, rather it was laid over it and then basically melted shut right here. You can kind of see the seam. Because of that, it isn't form fitting. And so at the top here, I don't know if you can see, but there is a little bit of give. And I'm not at the top there squeezing my fingers constantly. So once you have a good grip, I don't even really notice it. And so, but if that's a no-go for you, then this might not be for you. The coating on this is alright, but it's not the best in the world. It doesn't really feel like a powdered coat, but I think it is. It's just more of a flat finish. I have chipped it already, mostly on the edges, and like I was mentioning before, where this UHMW is flush with the metal, you can see from where I rode with it how the coating on the metal only is chipping while the UHM is pretty intact. As I enter the bar in and out of this entry point, you can definitely see that the paint is chipping a lot. I usually mention welding on any piece if it has it. This does not have any welding, as I mentioned before. It is fully assembled and only kept together by these screws here. No welding. That was your veggies, and before we get to the meat and potatoes, if I could ask, please like, comment, maybe subscribe. I'm trying to monetize my channel, and any one of those really helps boost any one of my given videos, so help out. Thanks. This has 5 uses per their website. A landmine row, a flat grip attachment, a wide paddle handle, a multi-grip attachment, and a deadlift jack. Let's go through each of those uses. As a landmine row, I personally really like this. As mentioned before, I really like the width of it, and for me personally, it just feels good for any back exercise. It's easy to put on, easy to take off, but as far as the UHMW Plastic goes, it's just for aesthetics. If you look at where the bar sits on this when you're doing the T-bar rows, you can see that the coating on it is already wearing heavily. So that shows that the UHMW isn't really doing much. Now, I don't give a flying fluck about this bar, but if you care about your bar's coating, then the back bar for landmines ain't it. I've had this for a little under 2 months, and the whole time I've had it, I have not used it as a flat grip attachment until this video. And I don't really see a point for it when every pulley system or cable system comes with something like this. A super basic lap bar. But this can also be used as a flat grip. Because does it really matter if this is flat and wide versus a cylindrical bar? I could use a thumbless grip and it would basically be exactly the same. So I don't really see a point in that. And I also hurt myself a little bit while using this. And that could be because I'm a newbie for using the flat bar, especially with the back bar. But all the edges on this are sharp as all get out, man. Especially this chrome plated steel here, sharp. And so when you're using it, it's super easy to just like let go and the weight will cut up your finger. Like right there. Obviously that'd be something I'd get used to and then I could use it for that. But like I said, every system comes with that lap pull down bar, so I don't really see a point in using this. I personally think they're kind of stretching to make it seem like it would work as a flat grip attachment. Because even when you put the carabiners on to set it up that way, because of all the sharp edges, it's gonna scrape up your carabiners pretty good whenever you're using them back and forth. It'll be a little bit of grinding on the carabiner. As a wide paddle handle, I would say that this compares very much to a mag grip. Or I had the mag grip cut off with my Tanlab pull down, but I sold it with the pull down. So I wanted a replacement and this is what I settled on just because it had much more features than a mag grip does. And so far it's been suiting me well as basically my mag grip replacement. So to be completely frank, I have not used this as a multi-grip attachment the entire time I've had it. But from my one use for this video, I felt like it was pretty good because it allows you to spread out a little more as you come down. I felt like I got a little bit of better work. But with that comes the con that it's like a whole foot lower. So if you have an already low pull down, then whenever you sit down, you don't get as good a stretch, which is a heavy con if you want to get that good stretch as you're putting in work. And you might be asking yourself, why would I get a multi-grip? I could just attach it to the carabiner straight to the pull down. Well, when you do that, it wants to stay close. Whereas with a multi-grip attachment, you can really spread them out with little resistance to do so. So this is just better for that. If you like doing that. Obviously I don't since I never do it, but whatever. As a deadlift jack, I would say that this thing does it pretty well, or at least well enough. This is 315 on the bar. It's pretty easy to pull back and take your weights off, put weights on. This is rated for 800 pounds. And since I sincerely doubt any one of us is gonna put 800 pounds on one side, this should function for all of us, to be honest. But this isn't perfect. So while I do feel comfortable putting these plates on, pretty stable as far as in line with the bar, but when you start to go side to side, this is a little unstable. And so if you work out with children or pets in your gym, then I would say this is very much a hazard. Not as stable as something like my Rogue Mini deadlift jack. And while this is a little harder to set up compared to the easiness of lifting that back bar, this thing is pretty stable for side to side play. I would have to push with significant force for it to tip over, more than a pet or a child can do. So I would say this is much safer. Or something like this is much safer, I should say. However, if you're a baller on a budget, you could always depend on the poor man's jack. So just small plate and we just mix these on. Good to go. Ta-da! But this is definitely more dangerous than even the back bar, so keep that in mind. This is also very similar to the Clever-built deadlift jack, which is similar in that you're sliding it in and lifting it up, but that's all the Clever-built does. And it's 65 bucks, whereas this, while double the price, does much more than the Clever-built does. So I don't know if you guys have seen this. Look, Mom, I'm skinny. Oh, oh, oh. I did 495. That's the heaviest I've ever picked up.
You scared me.
Sorry, what did it sound like?
Like you snapped your back in half.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
And then it was like, and then the slamming on the ground scared me as well. And I was just like, what the fuck?
As far as cost, this is currently $130, and after shipping, it was $140 for me, like just under $140. I say currently $130 because listed on their website, it says $150, then that's crossed out and it says $129.99 right next to it. So I think they're still trying to figure out what they want to price it at. So is it worth it? This is really a jack of all trades, master of none scenario. While this is good at a lot of different things, it isn't better than the specialized equipment for those things. Like if this is gonna scratch up my bar anyway whenever I'm doing a landmine row, then I'd rather buy a double D handle off of Amazon for like 10 bucks. And if I wanted a flat grip attachment, then the lat pull down bar works just as well. And those come for free with whatever pulley system you're purchasing. So if you're buying this for your pulley system for the flat grip attachment, then there's really no point, especially since it actually does that exercise poorly. As a wide paddle handle, I like this about as much as the mag grip, but I did like the mag grip texture just a hair better. And the mag grip is only 40 bucks if you buy the knockoff. I think the name brand mag grip is around $80. Like I said, I'm not really into the multi-grip facet of this, but it does seem pretty comparable to something like the Bells of Steel 30D handlebar, which is $75. That would do it better, but it also does nothing else except as an attachment to attach other attachments. And obviously, being 26 inches, it is not as wide as the Bells of Steel version goes. As a deadlift jack, I think this works well. It does probably scratch up your bar, but it is very comparable to the Clever built deadlift jack, which is $65. But neither one is as stable as something like my mini deadlift jack, which is 85 bucks. So if you're taking all of these things into account, we're looking at the $10 double D handle for rows, a $40 mag grip or mag grip knockoff. A lat pull down bar is included, so flat grip is kind of free, big old goose egg there. The 30D handlebar from Bells of Steel, which is 75 bucks, and the Clever built deadlift jack, which is $65. All of those things are comparable. This does it just maybe a hair worse for some things or equal parts for others. So all of that included, we're looking at around $190, and this is $130 currently. So I would say it's worth it if you have none of those things yet. If you already have like the mini deadlift jack, then you would save more money buying each of the things separately. But if you want them all in one inclusive thing, then I guess this is the move for you. Make sure to sub for in-depth till death reviews and stay hungry.